Don't get overwhelmed by me running through this quickly right now, because in the making is going to take you step by step. You're going to see the entire process as we work with Nouveau Riche Apparel. This is phase 1, episode 1 of Riche Stitch point of view. And episode 1 is how we kick off a new project with a designer. This is in the making, season 26. 1 collection, 2 perspectives, every detail. When a designer sends us their vision, we don't just look at it. We listen to it, we protect it, and then we begin building it. We start every new project with a discovery phase, reviewing the concept, silhouette direction, target aesthetic, and their production goals. And when you come to us, you don't have to have it all figured out. Your concept can simply be an idea in your head or a photo you found while researching, and then we'll just help you piece it all together. So now it's your time to start working with Riche Stitch. When it comes to working with Riche Stitch, we really want to make sure we protect our customers and our customers' ideas, their businesses, and their businesses' design. So here's how the process goes when someone, a designer like you, decides to contact Riche Stitch. So it starts out with the designer making contact, letting us know that they're interested in working with our business, or at least they're looking into working with our business. And you'll just tell us a little about you, a little about your business, and what it is that you're seeking from us. You don't have to go too into detail, but just to give us a general idea of what it is that you're looking for. After that initial contact, we will send you an agreement that you will sign. It's basically just letting you know that whatever you're sharing with us, anything about your business, your designs, etc., it's all confidential. So this agreement is not saying that you are officially working with us and that this is some sort of contract or anything like that. It's simply to protect you. Anyone that's worked with Fashion Formula 101, you have signed one of these. And it is simply to protect you, your business, and your designs, your ideas. It lets you know that we here at Riche Stitch will never use your designs or share it with others. It lets you know that your creativity, your ideas, the things you come up with is yours and only yours. We're just helping you to produce it. And I know we live in the day and age where content is like king around here. Everything is about content. Everyone's trying to turn everything into content. And being that most of you may have found me through YouTube, I don't want you to ever feel like I'm going to use anything that you share with me for content. I take my businesses seriously. I keep things professional, and I want you to know and have that security in knowing that your information is not going to make it to the internet. Is not going to be a feature in any of my videos unless you agree to that. And that's a whole separate topic that would be discussed separately. But I would never compromise my business for content, and I would never jeopardize any of my customers in order to help others. So you'll sign that confidential agreement, just letting you know that you are protected. That is to help you. That is how serious I am. That is how much I truly want to protect my clients. Once we align with the designer's theme, our in-house team begins mapping out the first 3 steps: material match, silhouette refinement, and the early development timeline. Those 3 steps will set the entire foundation. So once that agreement is signed, then that's when we go into the planning and brainstorming. Still no contract is signed, so you're not obligated to do any work with me, but it's just to start the process of getting the idea of what's in your mind, like what's your vision and what you really want to do. This is the step where if you have sketches or images, you would send them in to us. If you need us to create sketches, we can create them for you, but this is to get a general idea of what we're doing, kind of get the actual details of what we're going into before we actually jump into the next phase. Every first step starts out with a connection. Whether it's phone call, video, chat, email, we start out with connecting with the designer because it is our job to guide, not just produce. This is the kickoff call. We discuss fabric options, specs, timeline, any questions that the designers may have, we answer those. We finalize the design with intentions, ask the right questions, and prepare to turn your vision into product. After that is go time. And that next phase is like the quoting phase to give you an idea of how much you would pay. And here at Riche Stitch, came up with different payment structures because everyone's business is going to be different. Everyone's budget is going to be different. Everyone's at a different place. So I wanted to make sure I can accommodate everyone. I'm not in business to just focus on big business and huge bulk and making sure I get the top customers. Like, yeah, I get that's always great to have. But my main focus is on helping those that cannot find the opportunity to get someone else to help them because you can't meet those high minimums, or you don't have that much money to throw out in the beginning, because when you're buying in bulk, even though the price is lower, the end cost that you have to pay is usually high. You may not have that type of money up front. So I want to help you with that, which is why I came up with different payment structures, which I'm not going to share just yet. But if you continue watching in the making, you're going to hear more about those payment structures because we're getting close to launch anyway. So you'll be hearing a lot more about Riche Stitch. And in that pricing phase, it could change later depending on what changes are made, because trust me, when I get to the later stages, you'll understand why I say that pricing may change later, but that gives you an overall idea of what you'll be paying. Of course, if any price changes come up later, that would be discussed, so that way you're not surprised by anything. I'm all about transparency, so I want to make sure you know everything you're getting into before you get into it. Next, we begin sourcing the materials to match your designs. We'll refine the silhouettes with our technical designer to make sure it's functional. We'll begin building out our timeline, and that's from very first sample to that final shipment of your production. If you don't have your own tech packs and sketches, we'll create those for you and send them to you for approval before we begin the sourcing process. But once we do the pricing, you decide on your pricing plan, and we go through contracting and whatnot, we'll then go into tech packs and sourcing. Now, if you have your own tech packs, you will send us the tech pack and we don't have to create them for you. We can go straight into sourcing. If you don't have your own tech pack, we will create the tech pack for you. We send you that tech pack for approval. So we want to make sure the details make sense and it aligns with your vision. And I don't want to scare those of you that aren't used to dealing with tech packs and it might seem overwhelming. You may be confused and not sure how to read it. We'll guide you through that too so you understand it, but we want to make sure overall it all makes sense before we get into the next phases. But once you approve that tech pack, or you either send it to us, we'll then start sourcing your materials. Now here at Riche Stitch, we will have stock materials. So when we're in that pricing phase and we're trying to figure out your budget and what we're doing, and as well as the brainstorming phase, you can choose to produce from fabrics that we have in stock. But if you need something special for you, for your designs, we'll source that for you. Now, when it comes to sourcing too, and especially sourcing for special materials for designers, we know fabric can be a key to a design. And some designers may not want those fabrics that are sourced specifically for them to be shared with other designers. That's something we can discuss when we're in the planning and brainstorming, and of course the contracting phase. If those fabrics will be exclusive to your designs only, just keep in mind, then that's when minimums do come into effect, because unfortunately I don't own a fabric mill. At least not yet. So fabric mills do have their minimums. So if we're going to offer something special like that, you may run into minimums. But that's something we can work on. For those of you that can't meet fabric mill minimums, then you can buy from stock fabric, or if it's not one that we have in stock, that's something that Riche Stitch can invest in to get those fabrics. It would then get added to stock, meaning other designers can use those same fabrics too if it's not special for you, but then we would also use it for you as well. So that's what the whole sourcing phase is. And once sourcing is done and we receive all the materials that we need, we go into sampling, which I know is the exciting part because everyone wants to see their visions come to life. So we'll create your samples for you. We'll do our own fitting in-house because we need to make sure it fits according to your spec before we actually send it to you. But then the sample gets sent to you. We encourage you to do a fitting, do your measuring, and then you give us your feedback based off the first sample that you receive. And that first sample is usually the pre-production sample, but it can also be used for your fit sample, depending on how many samples you have contracted in your contract when we're at that phase. Which again, don't get overwhelmed by me running through this quickly right now, because in the making is gonna take you step by step. You're gonna see the entire process as we work with Nouveau Riche Apparel. So you'll get to see this whole thing play out. I'm just doing an overview for right now. But after you receive the sample, you do your own fitting. You let us know how you feel about that sample, and that's when it's determined if it needs to be resampled or are we going to the next step now? Because after that sample is approved, we're going into production. So that's when we do the cut and sew and we produce the bulk quantity that you need, however many you need, because here at Riche Stitch, we have no minimums. So if you only needed that one item, that one is yours and your process is done. But if we're doing bulk production for you and we're producing multiple, it can be 6 pieces, it can be 600 pieces. That's when we'll go into that phase and produce that for you. Now, when we were in the planning and brainstorming phase, I forgot to mention that's when we'll also go through timeline. So according to whatever timeline we agreed on in the beginning, that's what it'll take for the production. It can be anywhere from a week to 4 weeks, just depending on how many pieces you are producing and how complicated your design is. Each order is going to be different, but that's something we will discuss in the beginning so you have an idea of your timeline. And then once production is done, we ship it off to you. Riche Stitch will also have a fulfillment service, so of course if you need us to handle your shipping for you, we would house the inventory in our warehouse and then do the shipping for you directly to your customers, which that's something again we'll get into later on. I just wanted to give you an overview of the process when working with Riche Stitch. But we don't just end with the shipping, because here at Riche Stitch we have several other services and we want to make sure we help you beyond the shipping to make sure you actually sell those products, you're marketing them properly, you're getting it out to your customers, and then you can repeat your cycle. So Riche Stitch doesn't leave you hanging, we'll continue with you through the process. And then for those of you that may be stuck at that beginning phase where you make that contact but you're not sure if you want to go forward or not, we'll also be doing factory tours where you can come in person and get a feel for things, get an understanding of the process. We'll have classes and seminars. Trust me, I got it all covered. I'm making sure each and every one of you feel comfortable, making sure each and every one of you are educated on the process. For those of you that are first timers to this, I got you guys covered. I take care of my people, and that's what I'm certainly going to do here at Riche Stitch. So that's an overview of the process. This is not everything. I have so much more. I just don't want to reveal it all at once because I don't want to overwhelm you by throwing it all at you. So make sure you keep watching in the making because a lot of it is going to be revealed during this series. Now this is only the beginning. So in the next episode, we'll show you how we source fabrics to match the designer's concept and what it takes to get that perfect material match.